Hi, I'm Sophie,
And I'm Joe.
and welcome back to Spill.
Spill.
In today's episode, we are going to be talking about discipline and motivation.
Specifically, like motivation versus discipline, and
Versus.
yeah, you have it written too. But I would just like to first introduce our guest and ask her what her name is and her major is.
My name is Elizabeth, and my major is biological sciences.
Before we get started, I would like to reference that me and Elizabeth have known each other for a very long time. And
She's been a fan of mine for a while, so.
She stalks me. But yeah, okay. So I wanted to start off because I know that you asked me what the difference is.
Yeah, I was mad confused, I'm not gonna lie. But not confused,
just like,
but like, I'd never thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to think about it.
But I just wanted to say, like, in case you're in the same boat,
Okay.
I wanted to just describe that motivation is the desire or initial feeling that inspires an action. This is all from Google AI, so thank you for that. And then discipline is the habit of following through, even with the loss of motivation. So
Okay.
you can have discipline and not have motivation, and you can also have motivation with no discipline.
Okay.
Um,
Perfect.
so actually, this was Elizabeth's idea for this theme, which I don't think
Which thanks so
yeah.
very much,
Yeah.
because this is very interesting.
I know. I don't
to
think
me.
we've ever had like a guest come up with the idea and then or have we? I don't know.
I don't think so.
But I wanted to ask you, like, because you've struggled with ADHD, we've talked about it quite a bit. But I wanted to ask you, how has this affected your motivation to do schoolwork? You've worked before, we've worked together before. But I wanted to ask you how, like, your ADHD has really affected your motivation and to do things.
I feel like I, don't have motivation. Or, if I do, it's, very, random. You know what I mean? I'll, I'll, in the middle of the night, I'll, be, thinking, and I'm like, oh, I have to do this, or, I'm gonna, change my life, and then, obviously the next day I just, forget about it. So I feel like I've had to, actually, have discipline, because, especially with, school, I struggle, so, I used to struggle so hard, and then I was, low-key, doing, really bad in school, so I had to actually, force myself to, actually, do schoolwork, study, and, not just, do nothing. So I feel like I, kind of, am not a motivated person. I feel like I'm, low-key, lazy. So I've, had to, be disciplined because I just, do not have motivation, especially because, I don't take my meds ever. And I feel like when I do, I, do have motivation, but it's just because I have just, no, urge.
Can I ask you, why? Because if you take your meds, and you know you're going to have motivation, why don't you take your medication more often?
Because I, can't talk to people on my meds. I'm, not social.
Sorry.
I'm,
okay.
I feel like I'm, funnier, off my meds. Because I guess I'm just, more, I don't know the word, but I just, more, more social, off my meds. And I feel like because I just talk to people, so much throughout the day, it's, not worth it to take my meds.
Have I been around you when you're on your meds?
No.
Wait, yes I have. Maybe not your ADHD meds, but with your other med.
Loki probably. Not
Yeah,
ADHD,
because
though.
you used to take them in crew, I remember, because they would
yeah.
call your name and you'd be
for, morning meds.
counting them.
I stopped
and then you would
taking them, senior year. I would take them up until senior year because I just, realized, because that's, when I became, really social. So I feel like that's, when I stopped taking them because I was, I had, less, motivation.
Do you think they made your, other mental illnesses worse? Or no?
Adderall did.
Yeah.
But then I switched meds and it got better.
But do you think your OCD affects your motivation to do things at all, or no?
Okay, I was thinking about this really hard. And I was like, do I think that I'm, motivated and disciplined? And I came to a conclusion. I do think I'm very, disciplined, but not because I'm always motivated or want to do something. It's more of, So a lot of the times depression is supposed to make people not motivated, and I feel like sometimes I do feel like that way, but because I have such severe anxiety, I think that there's always that voice in my head telling me you have to go, you have to do this and that, and so
Yeah.
it won't let me relax. So I do have discipline, but like not in a healthy way. I feel like.
Wait, that's actually interesting because I feel like often we don't really think about discipline in a negative
I don't think it's
like concept.
like obviously it's helping me get things done,
But it's also like if you're constantly like overwhelmed
which
and
it
stressed
plays into that
out.
perfectionism thing. I
Yeah,
think that we talked about on last episode.
which you should go watch.
But anyways, what about you? Do you feel like
I mean, I've talked a bit about like ADHD on the pod before. Like, I had a really interesting, unique experience with ADHD. Like, my middle school was a special ed school for people who had learning disabilities, and they were all about like strategies to like overcome it. And a big thing was just like with the ADHD brain, and I don't know, Elizabeth, if you've experienced this, but it's like we thrive on schedules. So it's like if you develop like study habits where like, let's say, and I think this is a big issue why ADHD brains struggle in college is because your schedule is so like different every day.
yeah.
I think that ADHD brains typically they function better on schedule where they like are establishing a routine because they don't, I guess I don't really know why actually, but I just know that it's been found that the habits you create are better because it's more like you're disciplining yourself, where it's like
Yeah.
if you're bouncing from place to place in the day, then it kind of is, you can't really like focus in on a goal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Does that make sense?
Which would kind of just be adding to the fire.
Yeah.
With
'Cause it's like-
ADHD.
Yeah, because I feel like oftentimes with ADHD, it's like, oh, you have so much to do. And have you ever experienced ADHD paralysis
Yeah.
where you're like,
Yeah, all over the place.
Mhm.
I've like heard of this.
but I don't know, have you had an experience with that before?
Yeah, actually like a couple days ago because I had to study for my biology exam and I literally just like I also had something to do. Like I had plans later that night and then I had to like do my laundry and then I was planning on going to the gym and I just had so much to do like in that day that like required like actually using my brain and that I didn't take my meds away. I never take my meds. And I literally like I remember I just like sat on my bed and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I actually just like cannot do this," especially cuz I had planned like a solid like 2 to 3 hours to just like sit down and study. And like when I'm like studying off my meds, like I actually have to like sit down, like lock my phone away, like do nothing. But I was just like so stressed about like time and everything that I just like ended up not studying at all.
Wow.
But yeah. So like when it comes to being disciplined, how do you go about that? Like do you establish,
Yeah.
like we talked about a little bit earlier, establishing routines, establishing habits? I also know that you said that in the beginning of college you struggled a little bit. Just how was that in terms of discipline?
For me, the first month, because like I had a really solid routine like last year. Like I would go to the gym and then I'd go home and study, and then I'd like have certain days for friends, and then I just had a really like good routine where like I just like knew what was happening in my week. And then like we got to college and it's like you have like random plans come up, and then you have like you're like figuring out the syllabus, so you're like figuring out assignments and like
Yeah.
exams and quizzes. So I hadn't really like planned that, and I had like a paper planner that I was like still like figuring out like how to use and write down, because I feel like if I like don't write things down, they just like do not exist. And so like for the first month though, like try to like remember to like fill out my planner, and then like also like I have to go to the gym, like I have to like do some sort of like physical activity because like
Yeah.
for my mental health it just like helps like all like a lot. And like also like the rec is like really intimidating here, so I like
Oh, I know.
Like,
That's
it's,
why
like,
I
really
like
scary.
I like am just like I'll work out in my dorm. You can't catch me
Yeah,
out with the
no.
gym bros.
No.
They
Yeah.
scary.
But it was like really like scary trying to figure out how to do it, but I was like I just have to go, because if I don't have like something like for myself like during the day, then I just can't function as a person. Like I just like
Yeah.
feel like really down, and like I just feel like really like low. And it took me like a month to like figure out like a routine and like get like everything set in place. Like also like figuring out like study times. Like and I function best at night. So like my homework, I get it done at night. Like 9 o'clock, like 8 to 9 is like when I do my homework like every night. And I make sure that like before I like hang out with friends or like go like get like a dessert or like because I like sweet treats.
Treats.
Like I make sure that I like get it done. And if like I don't get it done, like I'm not doing anything else. Like I have to get it done.
It's like a reward.
Yeah.
It's that dopamine hit.
Oh yeah, dopamine.
Yeah, okay. So we were talking about, or a lot about, I sent like Sophie a paragraph about dopamine and serotonin. Basically, dopamine is the chemical in the brain that controls like your motivation and your want to do things. And with ADHD and I'm pretty sure depression, don't quote me, I'm not a psychologist, but there's a dysregulation in the chemical dopamine, which makes it harder for people with ADHD to sort of, get the same focus and concentration and motivation to do tasks because they don't have the want to do it. And then we were talking about like serotonin, which is kind of off topic, but it's, why not? Serotonin is basically a mood regulator. It basically controls the emotions in the brain. ADHD brains also have a dysregulation of serotonin, and OCD brains also. So, fun fact, guys.
A little. This is becoming like an educational podcast.
I know.
No, but I actually love learning about this stuff, and I didn't even know it existed. Not serotonin, dopamine. I mean, like the connections.
Yes, I just think it's really interesting because once you like
do research.
Yeah, and you
on
learn
why you are the way you are. Then I guess
But yeah, I think it's really interesting because then once you sort of identify that, you can definitely use it to help you, like with the sort of reward system, which I don't like saying that because it makes it sound like you're like
a dog.
Yeah, and I'm like giving you a cookie. Here, a cookie. But yeah, it is like that. It's making yourself be like, oh, benefit. How do you regulate distractions? Because that's also a big thing.
Yeah, with like when you are getting your work done.
Yeah, I feel like
and you too. Like
I feel like with discipline too, just in general, I feel like anyone, I mean, obviously ADHD brains struggle with it more, but like I think anyone can answer this. Like they have social media is a big thing, which you also get dopamine hits from social media, which is why you become addicted to it. I'm also addicted to it, so. Just how do you regulate distractions? Both of you can answer this.
When I do my homework, I like have a really bad phone addiction. I feel like most people. But like when I do my homework, I put my phone to like either where I can't see it or where I can't access it. Because I feel like if I can like see my phone, I'm like thinking about it. And I just can't have my phone near me. And then also, this isn't like really distractions, but I'll like time myself. Like, so I'll do like 30 minutes and then I'll like have a phone break.
This is called something. There's like, I forget what it is. If you go on study TikTok, it's like called something. It's like, I don't know.
Probably
it's like, I've seen it because that's where I got it
Yeah,
from.
it's called like the something method, but it's like.
I don't know the name of it either. I just do it. I actually, sometimes I'll go until I get distracted. Like when I start thinking about other things is like when I like will get sometimes I'll try to time it. But honestly, like, I do get distracted so easily. So sometimes I'll go until, like, my brain, like, literally just cannot, like, focus on the material. And then I'll take, like, a 5-minute break and just, like, scroll on, like, TikTok or Reels.
Yeah.
Or, like, text people. And then I'll, like, come back. And then just, it does take a long time. That was my only thing.
Okay.
But I don't know, do you do any, because, guys, to me, Sophie, I feel like you're, like, someone where I look at and, like, she seems very, like, disciplined. Maybe that's because I feel like you spend a lot of time, like, texting me and you're like, I'm editing Spilled right now. It took me, like, 3 hours and I feel really bad. I'm like, I'm so sorry, girl.
No. I mean, okay, I feel like I also was thinking about this, too. And my roommate, Haley, shout out, was, like, helping me brainstorm about this topic. But she said that which I didn't even know this about myself, but, like, when I know that something needs to get done like the next day or in 2 days or whatever, like I guess I do know this about myself, I will lock in. But same thing, motivation might not be there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I literally
Yeah.
kind of become a zombie.
I mean,
and
I
I'm
feel
just
like that's human, like, in general, to not have,
Yeah.
like, no one, I mean, there are some people who are like, oh, let me do math today. Like, there are
Like-
some people that are like that, but I feel like majority of people aren't.
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
I think with the whole distraction thing,
Mhm.
something like, maybe this is bad, but I can't be like, my phone, I'll not look at it, but I do, like, it has to be right there. Otherwise, that makes me anxious. Like, I'm missing if my mom texts me.
Yeah, and then you're, like, thinking about how
Yeah.
you should.
But if I see texts from people, I'm not as strict about it, I guess.
Mhm.
I kind of don't have a set schedule with, like, homework
Mhm.
and things like that.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just, like, because I think maybe we thrive on structure, and that's
Which
because...
I thrive in structure, but just in different ways,
Yeah.
I think.
Because I think, like, if at least for me, if I did that, I don't know if anything would ever get done, like, not to, like, call you out, just
No, but,
personally,
like,
I don't,
no,
like...
it's, we just do different
Cause
ways.
because I'll, like, go... Because I can't work in my room. Like, I can't do it. Like, I either have to do it in the library, or I have to do it in our, like, shared
I do
living.
love the library.
In the shared living. Did I put you on the library?
You did put me on.
I love
Not
that
gonna
place.
lie.
I actually haven't been there in a minute. But
You
I
have to
love it.
find the right spot. If I'm not
Yeah.
finding the right spot, I'm not going.
I have
Wait,
the spots I like.
that's actually real because it's kind of loud. People are really loud
Yes.
at the library.
Like, you have to.
Guys, I locked in there. Like, I can be in the, like, first floor, like, peak.
Do you put headphones
12.
on?
Yeah. I
Oh,
don't
okay,
just...
I was gonna say because it's like you know like the study
Really
rooms
loud.
though, like near like the bookshelves.
Mhm.
Those are nice. I like the little
Those-
study rooms.
Yeah.
They get hot though.
So I kind of have. This isn't really a question, I guess, but I feel like I said, I am very disciplined, but except when it comes to something really important to me, for some reason, then I kind of procrastinate as a way of self-sabotaging. And because I'm, like, scared of failing or something, I guess. But, like, do you feel that?
I think that's a really good point, because I don't think it's talked about enough when people are like, oh, I'm scared of failing. I feel like there's so many different angles you can take with it. Because often I think when you're like, oh, I'm scared of failing, but then you're someone who's an overachiever and you're maintaining A++ grades, people tend to look at you and they're like, no, you're not.
Like, come on.
Yeah, like you have A++.
What fail?
There's so many different angles with fear of failing, and I think, like, the American school system or school in general, if they had, like, something with that, I think a lot more people would be more, like, inclined to success.
This podcast is presented by El Vaquero.
Authentic Mexican dining just steps off of UC's campus on Short Vine.
Visit El Vaquero today at 2845 Short Vine Street and follow them online at El Vaquero Clifton. El Vaquero, the best in Cincinnati.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you definitely could hear that.
Have you ever been perceived as someone with no motivation, but in reality you keep trying, but it is not seen as that?
Yeah, I guess just like when I was depressed, like people just thought I was like dumb and lazy, and also like I feel like I am not a serious person. Like I feel like most people like
Ooh, that's a big thing.
that's just like the way that I like put myself off. Like I don't. It's not that I don't like to be taken seriously. Like I'm just like a jokey. Like I like to be like.
Well,
you know what I mean?
actually, there's a bit of psychology behind that. So people perceive quiet individuals as smarter. So if you go into a
Yeah.
room and you're quiet, reserved, people often tend to associate that with intelligence. And then if you're loud, because I guess they associate it with obnoxiousness and like you're not really observing the room around you, they tend to group you into a category of lesser intelligence,
Yeah.
which is not necessarily true. But
So, speaking as how I am in a creative major, and creative majors also take a lot of discipline, despite what people think. I don't know why. Anyways.
because we don't get paid that much.
I-
And people associate
Yeah.
money with discipline.
You kind of have to have a lot of motivation and discipline for that.
Which is actually the opposite, if now that I'm thinking about it.
I feel like you have
know
to
what
have
I
more
mean?
because you're getting paid
Yeah,
less.
because you don't have the,
Yes.
like, reward as, like,
So you need
someone.
to have the drive for the end goal.
Yeah.
In the end.
You have to actually want to be there.
Yeah. But I guess, like, my question, and, like, even if you're not in a creative major, this also applies, but how does one, like, continue going on with, like, a career in a creative major or whatever major, even if they don't have that motivation anymore? Because sometimes when you do lack motivation, you do lack discipline. So I don't know. I'm just curious.
A really big, like, topic relating to that is burnout. I
Burnout.
think a lot of creative majors get burnout, at least in the, speaking from an art major, just
Yeah.
when you're sort of forced to do something that you, like, love, but it's taken in more of, like, a
Extreme, serious.
yeah, and you're
route.
not even that, but then also you have to think about, like, we do critiques at least twice a week, if not more, and it's like, you know, they're not that bad, but then sometimes you do feel like bad about yourself. You're like, wow, like maybe I'm not cut out for this, and I think that sometimes you can let those comments get to you. I also think that, like, just burnout in general for any creative major, like, it's bound to happen at some point.
But then burnout then does become very
Which
real.
I don't know if you've experienced burnout before, but I have.
Yeah.
Where I've just not. I mean, I had burnout for like years of just I can't do it.
Yeah.
Of just
But
this
you're
is not.
still
I
in
mean,
this
yeah, here I
major.
am. I think like if you are experiencing burnout, it kind of sucks, but like the only true way to get over it is just to keep doing it. But like
Yeah.
I think what's helped me, especially this semester, has been like sort of still creating on the side, but giving myself a lot more freedom
Yeah.
and
So
like
it's less structure.
yeah, and doing it like, oh, now I'm allowed to use color, like stuff like that.
Now I'm allowed.
Like-
Blink twice if you need help.
like can use pink, like stuff like that, where it's more of like, oh, you're realizing like the way that you like to do it is
Yeah.
always a good way to get out of it. But I don't know if you have that experience in film studies.
I think burnout is definitely real. I don't think I've hit burnout level
Yeah.
just because we're not at that point where we're making like films all the time or producing things. I think that'll come later on in college, but I do think that it's hard when you do have that lack of motivation to start things
Doing
or finish things. That's something for me too. I have a hard time, like, I might have the motivation for a day, but then the next day I don't know if like you felt the whole lack of motivation but still needing to be disciplined thing.
Because I think
I think everyone does.
well, academic burnout is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of STEM majors, chemical, I think chemistry and biology, both if you're
all
maybe not freshman year, but definitely as you get sort of in a higher level, I think you can definitely get sort of burnout.
For me, like, because like high school you're taking like English, history, science, math,
yeah.
and like art, and I feel like now it's literally for me, because also I had AP credits, right? So I don't have to take an English, and I don't have to take any other classes
Yeah,
that I would
true.
be taking. So I'm like only taking chemistry, biology, calc, and then like the labs, obviously.
Yeah.
And I feel like that low key does get repetitive, especially like as like I go further into my major. Like, it's going to be only STEM. Like, you know what I mean? Like, once, like, next semester I get, like, all the other, like, requirements out of the way, it's, like, just going to be, like, chemistry, biology, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like now it's honestly fine. Like, it's first semester. Like, it's, like, this is, like, stuff that I haven't, like, taken since, like, freshman, like, sophomore year of high school. Like, it's not new material, but it's, like, old review. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's still like
it's like still like
something.
fresh. It's like still like kind of interesting to learn about. But I feel like definitely, especially when we get to like organic chemistry, like even like biochemistry or like more like harder things, like more specialized like classes, I think then it'll probably be like really easy for me to like burn out and get tired.
Yeah.
Especially because those are considered like weed out classes, like classes that like people like do fail, and like, or even like calc. Like honestly, like I know a lot of people like struggling in calc. Like honestly, like same. Like don't ask me about that last exam, but it was like if I had it like an English or like a history, I feel like it'd be like a nice like break, but because I don't have those classes, it's just like the same thing over and over again. And I think that like over like the next couple of years, I think that probably will get like a little like exhausting, because I do like English. Like I like reading.
Yeah. So how do you think that you're going to like balance that with losing some motivation and maybe getting burnt out a little or a lot? Like how do you think you'll balance that?
I think for me, even like now, I just like remind myself of like why like I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like for me, like I like want to be like pre-medicine. Like I want to be a doctor, and I want to help people, and like that's like my goal. So I think like even like sometimes honestly I get lazy, but I just like remind myself that like I have to like keep up my GPA and keep up my grades like for a reason, because like medical school is like just like so competitive, and it's like really hard to get into, and like, and if you do have like even like a C, like C's like are even bad, like even like B's, like it is standard to like be more competitive, and I feel like I just have to remind myself of like what I'm up against, and like that I do kind of have to like be like the best version of myself and like really push myself to be the best, because like otherwise like I'm not gonna make the mark, which like sounds like kind of bad, but like it is.
But that's
like, really
discipline.
Yeah.
That's like a disciplined mindset.
Of the end result.
And hopefully like that motivates you, seeing that end.
Yeah,
goal.
I feel like in school there's this big mindset, and in general of like the key to success is the long-term reward instead of the short-term outcome, which is like in terms of like school, you could say like if you have a test, okay, studying for that one test, right? You have the option of short-term reward is not studying for it and having that free time. But long-term reward is, oh, you keep studying for tests like this. Eventually, you're going to get an A in that class. Eventually, you'll get A's in all your class. And you'll have the reward of, you know, doing well in school and getting a good job.
For sure.
And I think that sometimes it's hard to sort of see the bigger picture in general for just in general.
And I do think like discipline is that mindset.
Yeah.
Like it's more 60% mindset and then 40% actually doing things. Because if you think about it, if you don't put your mind to it and you aren't in that mindset, you're not going to do any of it.
A big thing for me is reinforcing that I can do it. You know, as a kid, at least for me, when I was growing up, it was really reinforced into my mind that I wasn't smart enough. And, you know, then I went to my special ed school. They obviously helped me, but, you know, when I went to high school, there still was in the back of my mind, I'm not good enough.
Like that doesn't leave you.
Yeah. And it's like, I think that that's a big thing surrounding school, and that's not talked about enough. But I think that, like, once you have that mindset of, oh, I'm not good enough, realizing that, yes, you are. Like, maybe you have to work harder than everyone else to achieve the same grades, but you can still do it. And I think that if you are struggling in school, like, just realize that you can do it. You do have the abilities. I also wanted to touch on, because I think we have similar experiences to that, where I think if you're in a creative field, it's very similar to STEM in the fact, or even pre-med, where it is so competitive. And media production, also very competitive. Like, art is definitely like that, where it is like you do have to be the best. You know, you chose a major, at least for me, I don't know how, you know, how much money you're rolling in as a film production major, but at least for fine arts, the like amount of money that you're making is likely to not be that much. So I think the like motivation to like keep pushing through and keep trying your best is because you know that like you have to do that in order to like make your career work.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is like kind of oddly similar to STEM, which I feel like isn't really talked about how they're similar often. But,
yeah, I agree. I do think that, you mentioned this before a little bit earlier on, but I do think we all kind of keep each other in check.
Mm-hmm.
Like, using that to your advantage, the fact that it is so competitive, or the fact that, like, I know a lot of people in my major are my friends now, so we do rely on each other and keep each other in check. I have another question, maybe the last, I don't know, but kind of based on what we were just talking about, do you think that discipline only comes from within and, like, with your own mind, and it's like a self-growth type of journey, or do you think that, like, it is helpful to rely on other people or lean on people to have that motivation and drive to be disciplined, if that makes sense? Because I kind of think it's a little bit of both. I think mostly it's a self-growth type of thing, but I don't know if you have anything on that.
I think yes, but I think, like, for me, like, I also do rely on other people, but I think you have to, for me at least, I have to rely on people who are, like, more disciplined than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to rely on people who, like, put in more work than me. Because I feel like you, like, see these people and, like, wow, like, these people, like, study all the time, like, they're grinding. And it's, like, I, like, need to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like for me, I, like, try to, like, compare myself to people who are, like, putting in more work than me because I feel like it, like, I want to do more. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if I'm, like, like, trying to, like, rely on people who do less, well, it's, like, okay, these people are, like, putting in less effort and, like, they're probably, like, smarter than me or, like, they just understand the material more than me. And, like, if I'm putting in less effort like they are, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to do well versus, like, if I'm putting in effort, like, to that people, like, you know, it's, like, just, like, crazy studiers. I feel like that, like, gives me a better guarantee of, like, doing well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like for me, it's not like that. I tend to get really motivated when I'm like, I need to do this for me. Like, I need to do this for myself because I need to prove to myself that I can do this, that I am going to be successful, and I know that I can do this in my heart. I just have to give it my all.
Yeah.
And work my butt off.
Okay, so I guess it is, like,
Both, I think.
depends on the people and also, like,
Who
a
you
little bit
are,
of both.
yeah. I think it just is such an individual thing of how, like, and I think that's part of it is figuring out what motivates you
Yeah.
and what gets you to that point.
Yeah. But anywho, thank you so
No
much for joining
Oh, I was going to say from watching, but
us
yippee!
today and giving your perspective.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Bye.
Bye!